I wanted to share something with you. I thought you might find this interesting. Okay, something specific about this that I think you'll enjoy. The episode of Dick Masterson's show where he hinted and nudged and winked at the audience to go mess with my Patreon and Maddox's sponsors, by the way. Dick says something very interesting in it. And I just think you will have a particular enjoyment of this, okay? Let's take a look at this. Get you in there, get me in there. And this is the Dick Show episode 32. All right, I've clipped a little bit of this. Check this out.
And you said, I think that your sponsors would want to know what kind of shit they're supporting.
Was this on the podcast? Or,
no, this was on his network, but it doesn't matter who. It doesn't matter who said it. It was part of the network.
Oh, okay.
Now you hear what they're doing. They're going. It doesn't matter who said it. It's part of the network. They're trying to make it. It was Maddox. It was me who said it, and the network is me. I'm the one guy. So Dick Masterson forever had a rule in a show that you were not allowed to talk about Pod Awful, which is why I know that you're enjoying appearing on Pod Awful because you know. He can't cover this. He can't turn this into content. He cannot cover Pod Awful because Pod Awful talks about Juju. Okay? So this is why he's always kept my name out of his mouth and always talked around it. But they're talking about me. And at the time, he had a giant Facebook fan group and a giant Reddit group. And so all of them knew they were talking about Pod Awful. All of them were saying Pod Awful. All of them said, here's Pod Awful's Patreon and how to do what Dick said. You just had to be there for it. Now listen to this.
Network. It's on his network. So Don Chaco brings up a pretty fucking legitimate complaint. Like, I want to clear something up because I created the term job lynch mob. And
now, are you familiar with that? Do you know that Dick Masterson came up with this term job lynch mob?
Nah.
Yes. Nah. So back on the original Biggest Problem in the Universe, he made one of the biggest problems. He said it's people going to people's jobs and having them reported for things they don't like to try to get them fired. That's what it was.
Like is he saying that like it's a negative thing?
Yes, he was saying that was the biggest problem in the universe. It's the worst thing you could do, and it's one of their it was one of their most highly voted things. But he knows in his mind that his audience. They're going to go, Dick, you're the guy who says job lynch mobs are bad. And now you're telling us to go after people's sponsors and their Patreon. So here he is justifying it before he does it.
It's gotten out of control where now it's a job lynch mob if you report like a waitress for doing a bad job. It's like, no, that's her fucking job.
By the way, me saying the N-word on my show is me doing a good job. That's basically the show. So I'm just kidding. But that's not me doing a bad job though.
A job. Let me be as clear as fucking mud here. A job lynch mob.
Which nice. This guy gets on your case about being a bad writer. Clear as mud. I don't think that's what you meant to say there.
Is when you have an offensive opinion that people try to silence by fucking with your job.
Yeah.
It's you walking around having thoughts and opinions that don't affect anybody.
Now, how on earth do you have an opinion that you keep inside your head and someone reports on? Like, he's talking about thought crimes, but you have to say something out loud for someone to know that you have the thought. Right. I was reported for a thought crime. The thought crime was that, as if I'm serious, when I said, like, I actually hate black people because I said the N-word, even though it was part of a joke, a thing that he did, man. A thing that he did too, and cost him his Pizza Hut commercial.
And then people try to silence you by taking your job. A job lynch mob is not telling sponsors that you disagree with the content of their sponsorship. That's called capitalism.
That is literally, like, is that not the most Karen fucking thing you can do?
Yeah, that sounds, hearing him say that makes sense because, again, this is the same guy that also was tagging the IRS. With us.
Yes.
So that goes with that sort of behavior. And he's also hollered any like colleague of mine that has ever worked with me. He's always trying to paint me in a negative light and tagging them and doing stuff like that. He goes along with the whole lawsuit that he tried to gay op where he's tagging like the CEO. This is very much what he tries to do with us, and he's going after people's bottom line. That's ultimately what he's describing.
He doesn't like that you make money. That's all it is.
Yeah, that's all it is. So it's okay when I guess he does it under his circumstances, but not the other way around. That's interesting.
Well,
that's interesting.
It gets more interesting. Now, you got to hear this part.
A job lynch mob is not responding in kind when someone fucks with you and your friends.
Fucking with him and his friends, by the way, is me on a private show behind a paywall saying a joke he didn't like. That was fucking with his friends, okay?
Then it's anything fucking goes. The second somebody fucks with you, you cannot respond strong enough because they went from 0 to 1. You can never go 0 to enough to raise the stakes that much.
And I know he made no sense there at the end because he has no idea how to talk, but even though that's his job. But Eric, are these guys? Right? Is Riley not fucking? Maybe it's not Dick, but is Riley at the very least not fucking with you? You can never go far enough if a guy fucks with you and your friends. I'd imagine some of your employees are your friends. So
most definitely. And again, I'm going to make sure that I take care of those guys, and that's what I do. And it sounds like he's okay with that. But apparently, when I do it, it's a problem.
As a boss, you have a responsibility. You have to do it.
It's by law, like it's written in Texas code. I absolutely have to do it. Like it's not really an option. Otherwise, I just open myself up.
It's one
for
thing
all sorts of weird stuff. Yeah, it's an obligation there, right? So otherwise you're negligent. So yeah, and I get that part of it. Like, and I want to empathize with those that may not have liked the move, right? If all you ever knew about me was guy that was on YouTube, he did music every now and then, he talked comic books, but there's a lot more on the line. Since 2022, when I launched this thing and started making millions of dollars making comic books, and I had other people that I had to employ, I had physical locations. That's a different animal. And yeah, as a boss, to your point, I have to do it. I have to do it. I'm going to. It's not anything that I'm even sorry for. Right. I'm going to do it.
All right. Now, it actually gets worse.
Whoa,
listen
imagine
to
that.
Yeah, listen to this.
I just want to be fucking clear what a job lynch mob is. It's opinions.
His host is this host on the network who I won't bother mentioning. Him and his
it doesn't matter. It's the network. It's the fucking network is responsible.
Yeah, it's the network. It doesn't matter who it is. Who cares? Sean, who cares? It doesn't, don't say his name. Doesn't it kind of, if you're saying people should report us to our sponsors, don't you kind of need a name of the guy? But no, he wanted people to say Maddox. Now, here's the thing. You don't know this, but I didn't have sponsors. Even though I was part of the network, I specifically joined Maddox's network and told him, I do not want to have any of your sponsors. I do not want ad revenue. I want to make money off of my Patreon by doing this. I just want the exposure. And so he knew that. He knew that saying going after sponsors for the one guy that's on the network actually meant going after Patreon. I literally sold my Patreon on my show at the time by saying, we don't have ads. We don't have sponsors. We have a Patreon.
Right.
So this is all dog whistling.
This and the people involved.
First of all, if all of a sudden you got a show that you like and let's say there's a show that you don't like, they would end up going after, if you want to go after the show, you go after their sponsors. That's just how it works.
If you want to go after the show, it's like, well, why do you want to do that? There's no reasoning for it. You can't explain that beyond something was said you didn't like. That's opinions.
Right.
And Dick says, I thought that his excuse for job lynch mob was crazy before. What he says here is so unraveled. It's unbelievable.
And then the show has to refine itself.
It's not remotely the same. It is not. A job lynch mob is if somebody has an opinion. They're walking around thinking, oh, marriage should only be between a man and a woman. Oh, marriage should be man versus man.
Marriage should be man versus man. I think the Craigslist thoughts are creeping into his mind right there. Marriage should be man versus man. Listen, Men Are Better Than Women is definitely a book that guy would write. That's a very interesting thought.
Hurt them for having a fucking opinion. That's the point. It's a fucking opinion. It's not somebody trying to fuck with you. If somebody comes over to your house and writes, "Hey, asshole" on it, do whatever the fuck you want to them.
Wait, whoa. Hold up. Jesse, that's the first time I've seen that. Are you for real?
Yeah, that's real. That's fucking real, man.
Of all the analogies to use, what?
That is 2017. Let me run that one back for you. Just in case people don't understand. Just in case people don't understand, this all started with Riley leaving a little "fuck you asshole" basically note on your business, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Hey,
That's
asshole
crazy.
on.
Yeah, this is nuts.
Fuck with you. If somebody comes over to your house and writes, "Hey, asshole" on it, do whatever the fuck you want to them. Do what, because do is the most.
Who still has a problem with Eric calling the cops? Raise your hand in chat.
That's crazy, bro.
Join the Pizza Fund. Get all of our primo content, our bonus content, podawful.pizza. And until next time, have an awful day.
Oh,